Get Out? Nope. We've got to talk us some Jordan Peele movies. Hey everybody, welcome to Mainely Movies. Today I'm going to be ranking all 3 of Jordan Peele's films as part of my director Rankography series. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for a variety of movie-related content like reviews, rank lists, and trailer reactions. So what is a Rankography exactly? Well, it's my ranking of a filmography, whether that be a director's output, an actor's appearances, or even an entire franchise. My rankographies are based on personal preference, and I rank movies according to how much I enjoyed them, rather than any specific technical merit or attribute. Remember, this is just my ranking, not the ranking, so be sure to post your own personal ranking of Jordan Peele's movies in the comments below. Jordan Peele has only been on the director scene for the last 5 years, but he's already contributed significantly to the horror and thriller genres. Funny, considering he's a comedian. That switch from his usual comedy to horror and thriller fare might sound a little weird at first, but there are actually a lot of similarities between the two genres. They're essentially two sides of the same coin, reaching audiences at a visceral, emotional level. All of Peele's films have some scares and thrills to them, but they're also all threaded with at least a little bit of humor, which goes a long way towards making these highly rewatchable, entertaining films. I've gotta admit, this is a super hard ranking for me, because I honestly really enjoy all 3 of these films. So even my last place movie is still a 4-paw film for me. I've already reviewed all 3 of these movies on this channel, so if you want to check those out for some more in-depth thoughts on each of them, I'll put links in the description below, and also link them up in the cards as we go along. Alright, let's get this rankography started. Coming in at number 3, Nope. I get the feeling that this probably isn't a particularly uncommon placement for this film, but like I said in the intro, I really enjoyed all 3 of these movies. So even though this is my number 3, it's far from a bad film. Nope takes the thriller concept that Jordan Peele has been working within for the past 5 years and gives it a solidly sci-fi sheen with just a hint of Western. Like his other 2 films, despite being marketed and often referred to as horror, it's much more of a thought-provoking thriller than anything else. But what it lacks in scares, it makes up for in tension, creepiness, and disturbing imagery. The performances are great, with a standout effort by Keke Palmer and some more phenomenal eye acting by Daniel Kaluuya. But despite their strength, the characters are not the focus here. That focus is instead on the sky and the scenario that these characters find themselves in. Despite using a tried-and-true UFO premise, Jordan Peele manages to inject a surprising amount of originality into the tale, not only subverting expectations with the story itself, but also highlighting a very peculiar compulsion at the same time. It may be the weakest film of the 3, but it's still a satisfying and well-crafted story that's sure to please on rewatch. Coming in at number 2, Get Out. Although this was only his directorial debut in 2017, this film served to slingshot Peele into the ranks of modern horror filmmaking. All of his movies have socially conscious elements to them. They all delve into any number of various social themes, this one looking at racial issues and a racial divide. There's a lot of nuance to the thematic exploration here, ranging from casual racism to cultural appropriation. But of his 3 films, this is probably the most upfront and least ambiguous in terms of its themes. They're more text than subtext, but I still think this film delivers them in an entertaining and well-crafted way. It's a fun movie to watch, but it's also got some relevant, important, and fresh things to say. One of the things that always stands out to me about this movie is its great tonal balance. It definitely delves into some of these heavy themes, but the film itself doesn't ever really get overly dark or serious. It's more of a social thriller. It's incredibly tense, with a few scares, but mostly just unsettling. Peele's comedic sensibilities add some levity to the film, which, again, helps to keep this an entertaining and engaging movie. This is also an incredibly satisfyingly crafted film. It's got so many layers and pieces that get revealed to you as the story advances. It's one of those types of movies where really everything is important. None of the details or dialogue or things that you can see in frame are extraneous. They all have purpose and all connect to the bigger picture, which makes for an incredibly satisfying first-time watch if you're paying attention, and extremely satisfying rewatches. So that means my number one Jordan Peele film is Us. As much as I love Get Out and Nope, within Peele's filmography, Us is the movie that struck me right away. I was fascinated by this movie and couldn't stop thinking about it after I saw it. I watch a lot of movies every year, so other than a few movies that I watch annually for holidays, I have a tendency to go a number of years between seeing any one film multiple times. So it's very rare for me to actually go see a movie multiple times in the theater, but I saw Us twice in just a single week. Like I said, I couldn't stop thinking about this movie, and I had to see it again. And I gotta say that my appreciation and enjoyment of this film grows even more every time I rewatch it. As with Peele's other movies, Us is absolutely full of clever foreshadowing and bits of information, whose relevance only becomes clear later on. This is a meticulously crafted story, and is so satisfying to watch because of how it all inevitably comes together. Just like the other two movies in this ranking, this is a thematically prominent film. This time, it's largely about class differences, but I will say that it's a touch more ambiguous than its predecessor was. There are a lot of different possible lenses to view this film through, some literal and some metaphorical. This movie definitely has more of a horror tilt to it than the other two films, though again, I wouldn't say this is necessarily scream-inducing for most people. It's got some very unsettling doppelganger elements, home invasion thriller components, and even slasher stalking. It's creepy and a little scary at times with some very memorable imagery, and even more memorable performances, especially by Lupita Nyong'o in her dual role as Adelaide and Red. Alright, so that's my rankography of Jordan Peele's filmography. 3 movies, 1 comedian director, and lots of compelling social commentary. What does your ranking look like? I'd love to see some reasoning for your order, so be sure to post it in the comments below. Remember, I've already reviewed all 3 of these movies, so you can check those videos out if you want some more in-depth discussion of each, as well as my ratings, pros and cons, and even tailored film recommendations. And if you're interested in buying any of these movies, I do have affiliate links for all of them in the description below. I get a small commission from anything you buy using one of my links, so I'd really appreciate it if you'd use them if you're in the market for any of these movies. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insight, or information out of this rankography, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button, and if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe if you're at it to see more videos like this, as well as movie reviews. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainly Movies, the way life should be.